Hello and welcome to Business Incorporated. I'm Inu John Mekwa. Coming up on the show today, Interpol creates operations desk to fight cybersecurity in Africa. World Bank approves $100 million grant for Mozambique. And Kenyans to pay more for petroleum products from Saturday, the 15th of May, 2021. And now to intraday trading figures in Africa. The market in Egypt is still closed for Eid al-Fitr celebration, but closed in the positive on Tuesday by 0.77%. Kenya's market ended Thursday's trading with negative sentiment at 0.98%. Nigeria's NGX is back in trading after 2 days break, and at intraday was also in the positive, marginally though, at 0.03%, while South Africa's JSE was doing better at 0.47%. And in the Middle East, markets in the Gulf region were mostly closed this week due to the Eid al-Fitr celebration. The market in Saudi Arabia closed positive by almost 1%. So also was the Dubai index, which inched up 0.36% at the end of trading on Monday. The Abu Dhabi and Qatari indexes closed on Monday negative at 0.14% and 0.23% respectively. In Europe, stocks climbed modestly Friday to finish the week after Wall Street snapped a 3-day losing streak on Thursday, having been rocked by inflation concerns in recent sessions. Well, we have Chelsea now to tell us more about that. Hello, Chelsea. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's been a busy week for traders with inflation concerns driving significant volatility. How are things looking in Frankfurt at the end of the week now?
Well, things here in Europe have certainly calmed down at the end of the week. We're ending on a definitely more of an optimistic note. The DAX here in Frankfurt is up about 0.7%. The broader stocks 600 index up about 0.8%. So a bit of a rebound. Of course, this week has seen a lot of soul searching among investors about what the next few months is going to hold for the global economy. We've sort of transitioned out of this period where the economic outlook was very uncertain, where lockdowns in countries like the United States and Europe were still ongoing. Now we're seeing countries reopen, and that is starting to boost economic activity, but it's also boosting inflation. And investors have been watching a lot of this data very closely. Earlier this week, we got a big surprise in terms of very, very strong price growth from the United States. That is certainly still something that is on investors' minds. We are seeing prices for commodities, for goods, for food, for energy, all really starting to pick up. But for now, investors are taking this in stride. They do see inflation rising, but they aren't worried right now that it's going to get out of control.
And Japanese tech company Toshiba says its European business was hit by cyber attack. What damage has this done?
So this was from an announcement made this morning from Toshiba. They say their French subsidiary was hit by a cyber attack, a ransomware attack from DarkSide. This is the same group of criminals who attacked the Colonial Pipeline in the U.S. last week, shut that down for days, and really wreaked havoc on the gasoline market in the U.S. They also, at the beginning of this month, attacked the Toshiba subsidiary. Toshiba says that this didn't cause a broad damage. They say that it only impacted a little bit of information and that they are back online. They do say that some information could have been stolen by the hackers. We also heard today from the Irish Health Administration that they have had to shut down their IT systems after getting hit by a cyber attack as well. We're not sure who was behind that, but they say it was very sophisticated and it has led to the cancellation of appointments all across the country. This just really puts into perspective how big of an increase we're seeing in cyber attacks, particularly ransomware attacks. Over the past year, we've seen ransomware attacks rise by about 485%. There's a lot of different reasons for this, but one cause is really the pandemic, which led a lot of people to working remotely. That opened up a lot of backdoors at companies, at institutions, and these cyber attackers were able to really to go in, and now they're making a lot of money off of these kind of attacks.
Yeah, well, I guess it's time to also renovate a new level of cybersecurity to take care of this. Well, moving on now, Greece today open to tourists as it hopes for a strong summer holiday season as the pandemic eases. How are businesses preparing for this?
Well, Greece businesses are really celebrating today. It's the first time since really last fall that they've been able to welcome tourists again. They've dropped the quarantine restrictions for visitors from Europe, from the UK, from the US. So they are really hopeful that they will start to see a big flood of visitors. Already, major airlines are scheduling hundreds of flights this month to hopefully pick up on this rise in tourism. But of course, there's still a lot uncertain. Some countries like the UK are still requiring people who visited Greece and other countries here in Europe to quarantine when they come back. So that could be a big concern, and that could also damper some of these visits. But of course, also there's still a lot unknown about the pandemic. So I'd say that a lot of European countries that are very dependent on tourism are hopeful that they will see a recovery. But even in Greece, they say the best case scenario is that they'll be able to recover about half of their pre-pandemic tourism revenues.
All right, Chelsea, thank you so much for the updates and enjoy your weekend. So we move now to the UK. Juliana is standing by at our studios in London to bring us up to speed with latest developments. Hello, Juliana. Good afternoon. Thank God it's Friday.
TGIF.
Yes, but the last is yet to be heard about the Green Seal issue. Serious Fraud Office is suspecting fraud, fraudulent trading, and money laundering. What's the latest on this?
Yeah, pretty big story. It's being covered across all the news channels here in Britain. Just a day after the former Prime Minister David Cameron was scrutinised by a cross group of MPs over his lobbying for Green Seal, the Serious Fraud Office have announced that they will be investigating the Gupta family group, also known as GFG. The Gupta family group were one of Green Seal Capital's biggest clients. And so they'll also be looking at the activities involved with Green Seal. I've got a statement here from the Serious Fraud Office. They said they're looking into suspected fraud, fraudulent trading and money laundering in relations to the financing and conduct of the business of companies within the Gupta Family Group Alliance, GFG. And now what GFG do is they oversee hundreds of private companies. I believe they have a turnover annually of $20 billion. Hundreds of thousands of people work for the group. When it pertains to the UK, the big story, of course, is about Liberty Steel and the fact that because of the collapse of Green Seal, there are thousands of steel jobs that are still up in the air, although I believe Sanjeev Gupta has said that he will make sure that those jobs are retained. But of course, you know, all of these investigations have brought several things out in the wash. One of them is just, how the Gupta family run their business. I believe they did ask the government for some COVID support funds, and they also asked the government to step in and help them save Liberty Steel. Kwasi Kwarteng, the business secretary at the time, declined to do this, saying that GFG Capital's business was so opaque, the government just couldn't put their hand on it. So now the Serious Fraud Office are investigating the family. Separately, the Financial Conduct Authority are also going to be investigating the UK operations of Green Seal. So on one hand, we've got sleaze, we've got former Prime Minister David Cameron and Green Seal and Gupta. So it's a huge story. It doesn't seem to be going away anywhere soon, Innie.
Yeah, obviously. Well, Amazon seems to be on a hiring spree. 10,000 UK residents should get employed soon. What roles will be available?
Several different roles. I believe they've got about 4 new warehouses that they've opened across the country, and many people will be working in those warehouses as well as in their corporate offices. I know Amazon are doing a lot within sort of web cloud storage, and people will be working there. And of course, because of e-commerce and just how massive it is at the moment, people will be working in warehouses and deliveries. So by the end of next year, Amazon will have 55,000 UK staff, which means they will be one of the biggest employers in the country, which is absolutely massive for them. A strong bit of leverage too, because of course a lot of tech companies, Silicon-based, have been under increased scrutiny, not just here in the UK, but also in Europe, about how much tax they're giving back. For example, I believe, considering if you look at their previous accounts in 2019, they made £13.7 billion worth of sales in the UK alone, but I believe they only paid £293 million worth of tax. I know your maths is better than me, Annie, so you can work out what that percentage is, but it's definitely not enough. But the fact that they're going to be employing so many people is good, and also just goes to show how bustling that business is, because I believe just yesterday, Amazon also announced that they'll be hiring 75,000 more staff across UK, across the US and Canada. So good day of business for them and the new employees.
Good business, and good for the UK too, mopping up the unemployment in the country. Well, the FTSE is rallying, but the mining companies seem to be dragging it down. What's the situation in the markets now?
Yeah, well, the FTSE has held on to those gains. At intraday, the FTSE All Shares up 0.65%. The FTSE 100 is up by 0.65% as well, and the FTSE 250 is up by 0.75%. In the currencies market, the British pound is up on the US dollar by 0.20%, down on the euro by 0.09%, and up on the Japanese yen by 0.10%. Of course, the only thing we've been talking about this week is inflation. We had 2 signals, didn't we? A leap in China and a leap in America. But I think a lot of investors have been calmed by the statement made by the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey yesterday, where he said that he doesn't think inflation is going to jump up in leaps and bounds and we should stay cool. I think at the moment, currently inflation stands here in the UK at 0.9%. We'll be getting more inflation figures for the month of April sometime next week. So he's saying calm the nerves, and it seems as if investors have been calm going into the weekend.
Yeah, especially preparing for Monday. I know you're excited about that too.
Very excited.
All right, Juliana, take care and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Annie.
So we move now to Asia Pacific, where most stocks rose in Friday's trade following an overnight bounce for stocks stateside. Shares in Japan led gains among the region's major markets. The Nikkei 225 jumped 2.34%. That followed a more than 2% plunge seen on Thursday. The Topix Index gained 2.08%. South Korea's Kospi advanced 1.24%. Mainland Chinese stocks were also higher, with the Shanghai Composite rising 1.37% and Shenzhen Component surging 1.87%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index gained 0.76%. Hong Kong's listed shares of Chinese tech giant Alibaba plunged nearly 5% in Friday afternoon's trade after the firm posted its first operating loss as a public company in its fiscal fourth quarter. Over in Australia, the S&P AX 200 climbed 0.68%. MCS High's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan traded 0.8% higher. And in the U.S., stocks futures were higher in early morning trading on Friday after all 3 major averages snapped 3-day losing streaks. Futures contracts tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped 163 points. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures also traded in the positive territory. During regular trading, the Dow advanced 434 points for a gain of 1.29%. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite gained 1.22% and 0.72% respectively. The Dow is down 2.18% for the week, while the S&P has shed 2.84%. Tech stocks have been hit especially hard, pulling the Nasdaq down 4.56%, and that's for the week. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we have more stories for you. Stay with us on Business Incorporated. welcome back. We now head to the African continent, now starting in South Africa, where the country is on the brink of a third wave of coronavirus infections, driven by a steady increase in the new cases after a 4-day holiday weekend. As some millions of people travel to see family and friends and also attend religious gatherings. South Africa's test positivity rate rose 7.45% on Wednesday, and that's according to the Health Department data. That's the highest in 5 days and marks almost a month since the rate has hovered close to or above the 5% threshold. That's considered to be too high. Well, Brian Pugeni, Channel's television correspondent in South Africa, joins us now to give us update. Hi, Brian. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Great. And you? So there's been a caution to provincial departments to prepare for a rise in COVID-19 cases in the coming weeks as the country is hit by a third wave of COVID-19 infections. Meanwhile, there's a planned rollout for Monday. Shouldn't this stop this new wave in its tracks?
Well, as you rightly say, there's been an increase in COVID numbers in the past couple of weeks or so. Since the Easter weekend coming into May, and the National Health Department has declared that the third wave is upon us, though they haven't officially declared that the third wave is upon us. Though with the numbers increasing and the new variants coming in from India and the UK as well, that gives concern for businesses as well. So the vaccination rollout is beginning on Monday. But the vaccination rollout is only targeted at those who are over 60 and those with chronic conditions. So that's not really the working class and the socially active. So the wave might not really be stopped by that because most people are still going to work. The active people are still going to work. That is your youth between your 18 to your 45 to 50. Those are the people who will still be affected. So at the moment, the rollout, there's been concern from many sectors of society saying rollout is only going to start for the rest of the population only in November. So we don't know how the third wave is going to affect us in this winter period.
Meanwhile, South African-born pharmaceutical entrepreneur Patrick Soon-Shiong has said that his family's foundation will spend $211 million to help develop vaccine production in South Africa. Any ideas how this is going to work?
Well, at the moment, he's only been saying that what he would like to do from the United States is bring in the technical know-how and bring it to South Africa. And they've partnered, his company, which is also producing vaccines, has partnered with BioVac, which is a state-owned vaccine production company here in South Africa. To build a plant right here, which will produce over 100 million vaccines per year, according to him. So he plans to bring in that money, build the plant, and partner with government so that the vaccines can be locally manufactured and be distributed not just in South Africa, but all over Africa, since South Africa is one of the hubs with the know-how and the places and the technical abilities to do this. So we just wait to see how that combination will go with BioVac and Soon-Shiong.
Yeah, and we hope it happens soon too. Well, the rand has had a lot of movements this week. It hit a 16-month high on Tuesday, it slid on Wednesday, and then after the U.S. inflation figures were released, it recovered afterwards. What's the situation now? And placing that side to side with the third wave, what do we expect for the week?
Well, like you rightly say, the rand did reach a 16-month high. These are levels not seen even during COVID. These are levels last seen pre-COVID in 2019, where the rand reached close to 14 rand to the dollar. And it actually did break the 14 rand mark on Monday morning before it bounced back, like you said, on Wednesday. With the third wave and all that's going on with the economy, it's slightly sliding as well. This today, it was trading at 14.10, 14.15 to the dollar. So we just wait to see with the vaccination program starting on Monday. But economists and businesses are urging government not to take the country back to a harder lockdown so that the economy continues to recover and the rand continues to strengthen. So we'll see with the vaccination program beginning on Monday how that will affect the rand, hopefully to continue to strengthen in the coming weeks as well.
Yeah, we'll certainly see how that goes. Thank you so much, Brian Pugeni, a Channels Television correspondent in South Africa, and enjoy your weekend.
Same to you.
Well, moving on now, Interpol is creating a new cybercrime operations desk with UK funding to boost the capacity of 49 African countries to fight cybercrime. The Africa desk will help shape a regional strategy to drive intelligence-led coordinated actions against cyber criminals and support joint operations. Cybercrime is one of the most prolific forms of international crime, with damages set to cost the global economy about 10.5 trillion US dollar annually by 2025. A 2017 assessment coordinated by Interpol with partners and member countries in Africa found that each act of internet fraud targeting businesses enables cybercriminals to steal an average of $2.7 million from companies and $422,000 million from individuals. Well, with more than 4.5 billion people online now, more than half of humanity is at risk of falling victim to cybercrime at any time, requiring a unified and strong response. With UK funding for the 2-year initiative amounting to almost £3 million, the Africa Cybercrime Initiative will be implemented by the Cybercrime Directorate at the Interpol Global Complex for Innovation located in Singapore. The World Bank has approved $100 million grant for International Development Association in support of the government of Mozambique's economic linkages for diversification project, which supports micro, small, and medium enterprises. It helps to develop their capacities to provide goods and services to larger businesses, as well as serve the growing cities in the center and north of Mozambique. The project will also support enabling conditions for economic linkages. This project focuses on the development of digital solutions that will increase firms' access to market and financial services and on promoting last-mile infrastructure. While the project will impact the wider economy, its priority geographic areas include the provinces of Cabo Delgado, impacted by conflict, as well as Nampula and Tete, where poverty rates are high and opportunities for economic linkages are significant. The project will also support green industry firms in their capacity to offer climate-friendly solutions, as well as support engagement between state agencies and the citizens. We go to Kenya now, where petrol users will bear the burden of higher costs after a 3.56 shillings price hike in the latest fuel price review. According to Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the prices are inclusive of 8% VAT, which is in line with the provisions of the Finance Act of 2018. The price change will be effective from Saturday, the 15th of May, 2021. In Nairobi, super petrol retail will be 126 shillings per litre, diesel at 107 shillings, and kerosene at 97 shillings per litre. The authority says that price hike in petrol is against a 0.6% decrease in the average landing costs. And that's the much we can take on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Ini John Mekwa.